got some shoes to talk about in this box here. This would have happened on Friday, but had some medical stuff going on like a while ago, and then they were like, okay, well, should be good now. And apparently there's some side effects that like just don't show like initially. So yeah, Friday and Saturday were not the greatest days. But now that that's all out of the way, here we are opening up a box, kind of, sort of. The box is kind of winning this battle right about now, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you can also see that it's happening. But, anyways, also, for the people who might be seeing this before the thumbnail gets updated and all that stuff, it's a bunch of running shoes, right? So, if you're looking for some of that, like, stuff that's, like, appealing to, like, certain sneaker review watcher peoples and stuff, yeah, this is not likely to be that, unless you also like running shoes. So, I guess we'll just do these one at a time. I'm not sure which box is which. I could look, but yeah. So that is okay. So this is going to be the Glycerin Max. All right, not bad. So I did a full-on review of one. Well, that's different. Look at that. Like they have these little compartments in here in a way, you know, and they got some foam on the sides. That's actually kind of cool. So, huh. So let's go ahead and get these things out of here real quick. Now, like I was saying, right? I did a review of the London Fog colorway not too long ago. I think that was last week. Sounds like a last week thing. And I was saying at some point in it that there was a better color that hadn't come out when I made the order, but it did come out since receiving the order. And that was this one right here. And I thought to myself later, I was like, man, I really do want that one, but I mean, I already have this one, so I don't know. But obviously, I ended up ordering it anyway, and I don't know if I'm going to return the other pair or give it to somebody. I don't know, but I really wanted this one. I figured I'll order it, see how it goes, and it's looking pretty nice. Now, if I do run in them, and like I like the way they worked out or whatever, then I'm just gonna have both, I guess. I don't know. It's a thing for later. Across the bottom, what are you looking at down there? Well, it looks very orthopedic friendly. You know, I'll give it that, right? Not my favorite look of all things, but kind of makes sense for what it is. A little bit wider, you know, stability reasons and whatnot. So that way, you know, that keeps you from falling like left to right and stuff. So that's cool. A very thick midsole here, right? And there is some of the newer tech involved in these because this is like the DNA tuned thing, right? So it's what is it? It's one of those things where they have it looks like one big midsole, but it's really like two different things going on, right? So they change it from like the previous nitrogen based foams. So the back end, it's going to be like larger cells, right? So that way, when you're hitting with your heel, you have more impact absorption, right? Which is the thing you want. But then in the front part, in the forefoot part, right, it's going to be smaller cells. So that way, when you're springing out of those steps, like, you know, the toe off thing, as they call it, they explode with all this, like, you know, momentum for you. So that's kind of what's going on there. But the way they have this now, rather than some other things that had two layers, like of separate foams and stuff, now you just have the one. Anyways, otherwise, like, I don't know what color this was. I don't remember, but depending on how the camera's working out, I'll just let you know because sometimes it's not great. It's kind of like a light blue sort of color, right? Which I think is pretty nice. And then you have this orange on the side for like this very thick logo. You can kind of tell if you look at this from the right angles. You see that? Yeah. Also, one other thing, I do remember this midsole, excuse me, this upper being a little thicker than I would prefer on certain things, but this is kind of one of those cushion-based shoes, right? So if you want something more streamlined and built for speed, well, just get like the normal glycerin, I guess. Like it's better for that, you know? But otherwise, I got no problems with it. They have a whole lot of shoes in the Max line, so if you want a Max cushion shoe, you're not limited to just the glycerin. They have the Ghost Max, right? They have the Hyperion Max as well, right? Did I get the Yeah, I got the Hyperion Max. That review also went up last week, I assume. And this is, the stealthfit 21s. This I was actually looking forward to probably the most out of this box. There's 4 shoes in this box. Yeah, 4 shoes. So these right here. These just the standard old style design with a box where it's just like some paper and some shoes. So nothing to really talk about down there, but I do need to look at these real quick, make sure things are fine. Oh, that's different. Didn't expect that. All right, yeah, things are looking good. I mean, little blemish on the inside here, but when you're looking at something that's kind of like a felt material, that could happen any of a million ways. So not a big deal, and it's on the inside. So this right here, like I was just kind of saying, the glycerin, right? Glycerin Stealth 21, Glycerin Stealth Fit 21. So that's what this is. It's obviously from the glycerin line. I just got a glycerin 22 GTS. That review went up last week. I feel like a lot of reviews went up last week. Either way, so this is based off the previous model, right? Because it's the 21, not the 22. But it's not as old exactly because they brought the self fit out sometime later after the initial one, which is kind of a standard thing. I would guess probably like this was probably like a mid last year release, something like that. Sounds about right. But anyways, down there kind of looks a lot like you would expect from a lot of the things, at least that I've been seeing lately. And then up here, it's in the interior there, the DNA loft, right? So again, it's one of their older, it's the older version, well, an older version of the nitrogen-based foams. So nothing really crazy going on with it, so I'll skip all the details. But the biggest thing over here to me is the upper, and that's what caught my attention. So when you look in there, right, to me, it reminded me a lot of like the Ultra Boost days, and I guess even the VaporMax Flyknit 2, right? Yeah, the VaporMax 2. That one I was a big fan of as well. But mostly, let's see, pull these up. Figured I would come into this ready. So this right here, remember these? This is the Adidas Ultra Boost Mid in some kind of gray multicolor colorway, right? So I saw these like many moons ago. This was actually one of the first Adidas Ultra Boost reviews on the channel many moons ago, back in 2019. And they were a long running favorite, and I still really like these a whole lot. And these kind of reminded me of them, right? So I saw these and I thought to myself, like, I'm getting these in this color. I had originally thought about some other color, was like some kind of greenish thing. I'm a fan of green, but then they brought this out and I was like, well, that's what we're doing. So same sort of thing as before, right? Just knitted basically, and with a slightly different adjustment to the way they did the laces here. So that's all that's really going on. Now these I have not worn before. I'm pretty sure they'll fit. Yeah, I mean they look like they should be good, right? If they're not, well, and they fit like a glove, which is good, right? Because the thing is, when it came to like the Ultra Boost type fitting Ultra Boost shoes and how they fit, sometimes it was a little snug in certain areas. It was a thing, right? Different models fit different ways. Different colors within the same model also fit different ways, which was kind of crazy. So these right here, though, bottom shoe to size, they're fitting pretty good. I have some of my thicker normal daily socks on, not like my running socks, which would be a little bit thinner because they're compression socks. It's a whole thing. And even with these on that I'm wearing right now, this still feels actually like really good. I like the way the knit feels. It's just nice, Now, obviously, this won't be like the best shoe for running because it's not like finely tuned everywhere to like really support your feet in all the right ways. But they're still going to be really good. I mean, they've got some other good stuff going on in there, so I don't think it's going to really slow you down a whole lot. It's just if you're going for your best times and whatnot, you might want to consider something else. But also, while we're talking about it, down there it says cushion neutral, right? And that's basically based off of your pronation and stuff. And then you got normal pull tab, sock liner type things happening as well. So yeah, everything's fitting pretty good. I'm a fan of it, right? And I assume that much like the Adidas shoes, Adidas Ultra Boost of this same style, they will likely break in a bit more over time, and that'll be the end of that, right? And someone is asking a question while I grab this box. I've seen it. I just didn't really have the time because I was in the middle of saying something. No would be the answer to that question. I have not bought any Marvel shoes. Actually, no, that's not true. The Spider-Man 2 for the video game, the Adidas Ultra 4D Advanced, right? Yeah, that was not last year. That was 2023. That was like October 2023. Yeah, something like that. So that would be the one that I bought. There's reviews somewhere on the internet, or you could also just look up pictures of it to know what I'm talking about. Probably easier to go the latter route and just look up pictures of it if you don't know what I'm talking about. I don't care about the content thing if you watch it or not. Like, it's not that big a deal, right? But just bring that up in case you're not sure what that is. But yeah, so that would be the only one. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. I didn't show you the thing on the side there. That's going to be kind of important in a second here. So, Ghost 16 weatherized. That's what that says, right? All right, good. So, looking at these here real quick, make sure everything looks fine, and it does. A little dirty on the bottom, but I think that's more based on just like box stuff. Looks like just normal cardboard type fibers and such. Not a big deal. Things are looking okay. Now, I did try these on before, so like that's good. I already know how that's going to play out, but I'll still do it again because the ones I wore were obviously like not mine. They were at a Dick's Sporting Goods, so when you wear something in a store, you don't know how long it's been, like, or how many people have like tried it on and stuff. So out of the box, things can sometimes be a little different. Anyway, so like I was saying, Ghost 16 weatherized, right? I originally saw the Ghost 16. I know it's a popular running shoe from a lot of my running groups. I see it very often. But I thought to myself, like, I bought enough other stuff. I don't need the 16. But I do like to have things that fit for different situations, right? So a weatherized shoe makes sense because it's built obviously, or weatherized, yeah. So it's built basically like for the winter type times, right? So it's going to be a little warmer on the inside and all that stuff, right? A little more insulation. So that's kind of what they're going for here, right? Which is kind of like this right here. This is the weatherized or winterized. I think they called it winterized for these Jordan 8, some kind of Gunsmoke, I think they called it. I don't know. So it's like it's normal Jordan 8, but if you look at it real close, like in there, it's not like a lot of the normal materials and all that. It's definitely like super heavy too. And then when you look down on the interior there, you got all this like nice fluffy sock liner type stuff, right? So that's kind of what you get when you buy like winterized or weatherized shoes. So these right here give you some stuff to look at real quick. So down across the bottom and whatnot down there, it's going to be like a different outsole than your standard Ghost 16. I don't have one to really show you, but part of that is because if you're wearing these in a time when it's like kind of wintry, they give you like a different bottom on there so you can have like slightly better traction, right? So that's what's going on. Midsole wise, it's going to be the same as like the previous shoe that I just showed you with the DNA loft in there. Not the latest version of the DNA stuff, the nitrogen stuff, but still going to be pretty good because I mean these just came out only last year, and the Ghost 16 is still going quite strong. So there is that. Now as far as the upper goes, right, you're going to have like this sort of like, it feels kind of nice and soft, feels thick at the same time. It's a nice feeling, almost like a cottony sort of feel to it. I don't know. There we go. It's not really focusing a whole lot, but that's kind of what it's looking like, and you just see that all throughout the whole thing, right? And then you get onto the inside there, and like I was saying before, on those 8s, kind of a different sort of style going on, right? So all in all, very cool. And there's that, just a little bit of the branding on the tongue there. Ghost 16 weatherized, or not, whatever. So there's that. Let's go ahead and get these untied just a little bit, slip these on real quick. And while I do that, I'm going to click on the next thing that I saw pop up on the screen and talk about that for a second. Let's see. What would be the goofiest shoe you have ever bought? Yes, I own the same shoes. Okay. Uh, I don't know. I guess the Yeezy 450 looks freaking stupid, right? There is that. What else? Hmm. I'd say that's probably like the winner off the top of my head because I don't know, it's just a dumb look and it doesn't feel great either. It feels like walking on. You ever walk across like a grate, like a sewer grate type of thing with like the bars? It feels like walking on that, like, but just all the time. Anyway, so these right here, they are fitting perfect. I'm all about it. Sometimes when you get like weatherized type things, oh, let's take that down. Sometimes when you get like weatherized type things or whatever, it ends up feeling a little different. Sometimes they can feel a little bit looser. That's how it worked out with the, trying to think, what was it? It was an Ultra Boost. It was a white one, Ultra Boost 21, the Cold Ready, I think is what they called it. It had like a looser fit than the standard Ultra Boost, which is not the 21, which isn't surprising because, Ultra Boosts are known to have that slim fit prime knit sort of deal going on. But then there's some other things when you get like different materials, and we'll talk about that in a second, where they can feel smaller, right? So anyways, this right here, they're fitting true to size, right? I bought a 9.5 because that's my foot size, was measured on one of those little metal contraptions. So there's that, right? And I will say, like, room wise, it's feeling pretty decent, honestly. Like, I'm wearing those thicker socks, like I was saying, and all that stuff, and these still even feel pretty good. It is overall a pretty slim build. I'm not gonna like act like it isn't. You can kind of tell that just from the style. And you see just even from the bottom, you don't have the same sort of thing as you had with like these and stuff, right? Let's see. Right? It's just kind of one of those things. But even still, all that considered, they're still fitting exactly how I would want them to fit. So I've got no complaints there. Very cool. On to box number 4. Where is it? Right there. And I'll talk about something while I do that. Am I doing any giveaways? Not to people who ask for them. That's kind of how that works. If you ever want to have a chance at getting something for free out of me, you honestly just have to pay attention, and it's largely based on crowd participation. So ask anyone who's ever received something from me. It's usually unadvertised, or there's some sort of like pop up in a screen where it's like, hey, do this thing, and then like be the first to do it or something. So likely no, honestly, right? So moving on past that, let's see. Again, the side of the box thing. That right down there says Adrenaline GTS 23 GTX. Lots of stuff there, right? The GTS, well, for the Adrenalines, those are made to be kind of more support shoes, right? And the GTS stands for go-to support. So when if you saw the Glycerin 22 GTS video I did, there's a GTS and there's a standard, right? For the Adrenaline, I think they only made the standard, or at least that's all I've seen, really. Excuse me, they only made the GTS, right? So that's kind of a difference there. And the GTX at the end being for Gore-Tex. So there's that, right? Guaranteed to keep you dry. So this, like I was saying before about wanting shoes of different styles for different reasons, Gore-Tex is a good thing to have because they say they're waterproof, right? I'd imagine it's probably like to an extent, sure, but I'm hoping that it's just enough for like, rainy times. Now, I don't really see myself running in the rain because I'd rather not, but if the situation arises, I at least want to be ready for it. So that's kind of where we are right now. Anyway, so these right here, make sure everything's fine. Oh, that's nothing. Okay, things are good there. And all right, cool, fantastic. Let's do this. Down there across the bottom, what are you looking at? Well, very much similar to everything else, right? Just slightly different layout, but largely the same. And of course, because this is made for like I said, like different weather and stuff, once again, you're going to have a different style of the outsole down there. So it should give you a little bit more traction and all that stuff. Again, I can't compare this to a standard Adrenaline because I don't have one. And they don't really have anything down there for labeling is to tell you like what type of outsole they're doing. So I'm going to skip on past that. Then midsole wise, just basically says Adrenaline GTS over there. Then on the side here it says guide rails. So the way the guide rails thing works is, see those like these lines here look like caution lines on, and then over here too. Those are there so that they can kind of help keep your feet straight, right? Instead of going like all side to side and all this stuff, right? So that way it takes less stress off of your ankle and knees and stuff, keeps them all lined up. So you have a slightly longer one over here, slightly shorter one over here, right? This one on the outside is going to be like a little bit higher, a little bit firmer, keeps you from rolling out. This one on the inside keeps you from rolling in. Cool? All right. So as far as the upper goes, the upper feels like it's going to be kind of a thicker thing because it's like very stiff. It feels like your standard mesh. It's just like as if it's like several layers to it. So it doesn't feel as like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as nice and soft. Well, on the surface it's soft, but some of the other ones, when you try to move them around, like they feel nice and soft, right? They have a lot more give to them. These don't seem to be doing that. What does that say on down there? No, that just says Gore-Tex Invisible Fit on here. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that's what it says. So that's the thing. So we'll see how this works out when actually putting them on. Otherwise, past that, it basically just goes all throughout the rest. You have what looks to be a little bit of 3M going on here, and then also same spots on the back end or on the inside end. So that's going on there too. But let's go ahead and see what's going on. Also, one thing I'll note here, this little like stretchy piece on the tongue here. I don't remember what it was before. Let's see. It was the black pears. So it was an Ultra Boost Cold Ready. I think it was the DNA pair, right? I think it was like the Ultra Boost Cold Ready DNA maybe, that had this same little thing down here, and I was a big fan of it then because you can stick your laces down through there. Normally, if you've seen like the on feet clips that I make, I often will tuck the laces into the sides, just so that way they're not distracting from like what the shoe actually looks like, and it just gives it a cleaner look, in my opinion. But when I'm doing that for those things, and sometimes just in normal life, it can make for like a more snug fit on the inside because then you have like something tucked down into your shoe, right? And on a thing like this, say like the thicker tongue, that might not be something you want, right? But anyways, let's see what's happening here. Actually, these are feeling pretty all right. Some people had said they fit a little small, and I get that, right? Because again, if you're wearing like a Gore-Tex thing, sometimes like those extra layers that they have on there can just become a little bit thicker overall. It was the same thing with the Pegasus 5 trail shoe, right? The Pegasus 5 Gore-Tex. So yeah, this is definitely like going to be a fit that isn't going to work for a lot of people at true to size. I'm not saying like the most of the people or whatever, but it's going to be a respectable amount, I would say, that might want to consider going up half a size on these, just because like for me, again, I have those thicker socks on right now, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot of room like on the tip part, like between your toe and like the front of the toe box there. And once I stand up and all that good stuff, like that's when you'll really see, because right now I'm just sitting here just putting these on. How do things feel? Once you stand up and you start walking around in them, I don't know what all like the drops and whatnot are of these, but I would guess that these are probably about a 10, right? Whatever those numbers might be, I feel like they're both 10s. So that could make you feel like you're kind of like falling forward into the shoe, and then that's going to make it feel like there's even less room up there, right? Like the higher the heel drop, like the further you're sliding forward in your shoe. So it's just something to think about. But yeah, so once I've actually like walked around in these a little bit around here, then I'll set my for sure like stance on these or whatever. But right now, I would say like if you have the option, look these up. Try, they have a little store finder option up there on the website. So maybe if you can find like these in some sort of store near you, I would suggest trying them on. But yeah, I can definitely see why a lot of people were not thrilled about the true to size fits, because it's not a whole lot of room in here. And again, a lot of that I think comes down to just like the way they do the Gore-Tex shoes. If if the standard adrenaline is like the same dimensions and stuff, I bet you it fits like perfectly fine because they're going to be thinner, right? So it is what it is. It's kind of one of those things you just have to learn to accept or whatever. But otherwise, that's everything. So I'll do one quick recap and then move on to whatever. I don't know if anybody has any questions or something. You can feel free to throw those my way. Otherwise, I'm just gonna like stop this stream afterwards, right? Because I mean, I'm done, you know. And I don't have any like movie reviews to talk about or anything like that. I do plan on watching. Has anybody used the Shudder service? I was thinking about doing a free trial on there, so I'm gonna watch Dark Match. It's some horror / wrestling movie with Chris Jericho in it. It sounds awful, you know what I'm saying? But I want to see it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and do this. So, what did we start with? We started with the. Ooh, I always look at the camera, and I'm always wrong for doing it. Start with these right here, the glycerin. Excuse me. Yeah, the glycerin max, or was it the glycerin? I honestly can't remember the name now. Yeah, it was the glycerin max. I don't know why. The other one is Hyperion, and that one looks fancy. So yeah, this right here, the glycerin max, is what we started off with, right? From there, we went over to the right here, the glycerin 21 stealthfit. And then there was this right here, the Ghost 16 weatherized, right? Made for cold weather, like especially like winter and type things like that. And then over to this, the Adrenaline GTS GTX, right? Meaning GTS for support and the GTX for Gore-Tex. There's a lot of, that's a long name, that thing. So that's what's going on there. Like I said, if you got any questions or whatever you want to throw my way, you got about a minute or two to do that. I'm going to address whatever's in the things and hi to you. And hey, get on AWOL. What's going on, man? How's things been for you? He's been in the YouTube streets a long time, longer than me, I am quite certain, because most people have been. But yeah. So that's it for me, right? Like I said, I just wanted to. Oh, for a second, like I looked at this and I thought there was something on the shoe. I'm like, what is that? How did I not notice that? No, that's just like some more 3M stuff. But yeah, so like I said, I'm done here. I've got all my stuff dealt with for the day. So if anything, I'm going to be doing might do some edit. Oh yeah, I got to take pictures of these shoes because I've already done the editing for my wrestling related videos, and those will be going up tomorrow, right? Yeah, those will be going up tomorrow. I'll get the recordings done tomorrow, hopefully, for these right here as far as reviews go. And then the goal, if everything works out well, the goal is to get, let's see, I'm going to do 3 videos. So I'm thinking Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Wednesday, Friday, and Thursday that these will go out, because this one will be its own, this one will be its own, and then these two will be kind of like a combination thing, just talking about the differences between Gore-Tex and weatherized, because maybe not everybody knows that, and it's easier than making a 4th video. So there is that. All right, from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. I just told you everything that's to be expected for the rest of the while for me. Actually slipped one other thing in there. I got a box in from whoever made the Transformers cards, Dynamite. Like I did the Kickstarter thing, so they sent me a bunch of crap that I ordered, whatever's in that box. I honestly don't quite remember. So I'll probably be getting another Transformers related video out at some point this week too. So there's that. And let's see, one last thing before I go. Let's see, I'm well, just at work. Okay, hey, that's I get, everybody's got like different work schedules. It's been a long time since I've had to work a weekend, and I can say I don't miss it, right? Nothing against it or whatever. I get people got to do what you got to do. But even though like I don't even really have a whole lot going on the weekends, it's just, I guess it's just in the back of my mind, nice knowing that this is the weekend and this is my time, right? So it works out pretty all right for me. But hope your day goes well, through the rest of your shift and all that stuff. As for me, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So I will probably cross paths with some of you folks later. Later, people.